Hi guys, Andy here and welcome back to my Minecraft Survival Let's Play. And if you've seen from the title, it's the season finale and world tour. I put out on Twitter a few days ago about how people deal with restarting worlds when you've lost motivation, and the general consensus is go ahead, restart, be happy, do what you do because it will come through in the content. So I decided to bite the bullet and start a new Let's Play. Well, I haven't started yet, I'll be doing so shortly, but it's not necessarily the end of this world. I want to keep it. I may definitely return one day. I would like to try and finish the city we were building at Porthaven. So it's something in the back of my mind to come back and do at some point in the future. But right now, I need to step back from this altogether and do something totally different. So I thought I'd wrap this up. We'll do a world tour and then I can put it to one side and think about something new. So without further ado, I've returned here to Whiteforge Island. This is where we first started. Well, technically, we started about 2,000 blocks to the north in 1.17, and the idea was I was going to find an island to come build some farms, and then when 1.18 came all across, I could trim the trunks around the farm and then go off and explore. And this is what we came across, and this is actually a mushroom island. And we transformed all this island from the mushroom mycelium into this lush green home. Look over here, this is the project manager's office. This is a map of near enough the starting island. I just had transformed this section into grass and obviously built. That is, I'm not sure what building that is. That's the old barn. That is the old barn. What used to be there, it's gone now. But this was project manager's office, and the idea was on here we used to have signs indicating future projects to come up with, and that's the map of the island now. In fact, it's not even been updated with the last farm we did. I'll just do that now, but this is the map of the island as it is now, and that's how it was at the beginning. So we had this the transformation of the island over time, the projects we had on the go or coming on there, and we managed all our projects through this building. But that's the first thing we did though, was our little home over here, and this was a little starter farm here and a little starter pond here, and then in here this home's transformed over time. We've now got our storage area in, enchanting area, some furnaces, a collection of workbenches and the like. That's our first armor of the game. Down below in the basement, we've now converted this into a little brewing area where we create all our potions, along with some farms for some potion ingredients. And then upstairs was the bedroom and lounge area. And here's Ben the cat, who was named by Bobbert Pickle. Thank you, Bobbert. And obviously this is where we started sleeping initially. But unfortunately, sleep wasn't something I did a lot in this island, because being a mushroom island, I tended to stay awake at night a lot because, well, you didn't get bothered by mobs until phantoms came along. So that was fun and games. But I'll tell you what, I'll work my way around the island and then we can see what we built over time over here. And we'll start over this side. These trees were put together as like a divider between sort of like more of the industrial farms, and then over this side the agricultural area. And these were all built up with different trees we've gathered throughout the series, all the different wood types apart from mangrove and the nether woods. But then over here we have the agricultural part of the island, which is the wheat fields, potatoes, carrots, beetroots and the like, and our nether portal, which has the nether sort of bleeding into this world. And then we added a little bit of a storage area for our farming goods. And this basically provided whatever we needed, primarily for trading with villagers more than anything. And then we come back over here, and we added in the lights have come on. Actually, before we go any further, all around the island on the pathways, we have these redstone lamps. And there's a daylight sensor around the other side of this hill, so at night time that will kick in, and there's a redstone wiring all underneath, and they would light up the lights on the island for all the pathways. So there'd be like street lights, and obviously they would go off at night time. Over here we put in, we expanded the pond from over there. We put this 2-tier pond, and in here we should have the 4 axolotls. And they go up and down the pond and stuff like that. I've seen them actually go up here, not very often. One is up here at the moment, and they just hang around here, enjoy themselves over here. And then we move over onto the tree farm. But first, I think I'll get rid of the night. This was our tree farm. And here we basically had a section where we can plant our saplings, bone meal them, cut down the wood, took anything over the edge here, like any saplings would fall into here, and they will come down here and get collected here. And then we can store the bone meal there. We have our saplings and additional storage there. Work quite well. Means that that's hanging around collecting saplings up at the end of it. And if we head over this way, this is the newest farm on the island, and this is our mangrove swamp type build, and it's a fog sanctuary. I think there's a few fogs left in here before we took them off to the nether for the fog light farm. And there's one there and another one over there, but like a nice little decorated enclosed space to keep them safe. And then we can always breed for more if we ever wanted them. And then this pathway will then come under here into our sheep farm, automatic sheep farm, all the different colours. And then they would all go out there. You can do the minecart underneath. It will come out to here, and then it would come on top of the hopper, drop it down into a chest, and then into a dispenser. There was any wool at that point, and then they would output the wool into these pipes. And there's pipes all over the island, and they're all connected up, and they go all over to there to our main central storage system, which collects all the goods from a lot of these farms around the island. So as we will go around there eventually. And likewise up here, again, simple cactus farm. Again, another output system where they're outputting the goods into here. And I want to keep a lot of this visible and open so it can be seen as you go around the island. It shows the mechanical workings of the island. This is a chicken farm, which is actually connected up to the storage system, but we have these two chicken coops, and then so in here we have a collection of chickens and my bed. And the idea is basically these will sit there, lay eggs, and then the eggs will get fed through some hoppers into a dispenser, and my bed is there. They'll get dispensed into here, and then once they're in here, you can come in and harvest the chickens, and then you can always add additional storage in here if you wanted to put them in here, or take them over and trade with them with the villagers we've got on the island. But a bit of a fun design where, again, the chickens not being killed automatically. They get to live a little bit of a free life out here before they eventually harvested, for want of a better term. This is the first farm we built on the island. It is a sugarcane farm. My plan was to connect this up to the daylight sensor. Never got around to doing it, but that would be that would get triggered and it would set it off, and we'd reset it, and that collects all of the sugarcane. There's a minecart underneath picking that all up, and the minecart will come out here, land there again, dispensing the sugarcane into the system. Again, left this open and visible so it's nice and clear and can be seen by people. There's a bed down there. I would often, if I wanted to build my sugarcane, there we go, it's firing in. I'm at AFK down there, and the bed was there for me to sleep in the morning, at night time, if I ever returned to the game when it was dark. But you can actually sometimes see the sugarcane firing along in there. There we go, you can see it shooting along there. Over here we have our cocoa bean farm. I don't have any cocoa beans on it, but that would be the cocoa beans. Just grab a few here. So we'll plant a few sugarcane cocoa beans there. Press the button, it fire them off. All the cocoa beans will come and collect it down here, and then I can get some more cocoa beans out and come and replant them and wait for the next harvest. Come to you in a second. Smelter system, just using rail tracks running around the back to smelt our goods, adding fuel, adding items to be sold, to be smelted, and then output there. Type of little factory type build here on the island. And this is our iron farm. See if we can land on the top up here. I can. So the idea will be underneath is 3 villagers and a zombie. And the zombie scared villagers, iron golems would spawn up here, and then they get down into here, and then down there, dropped out of range so another one can spawn. And it works quite well. Plenty of iron for the season. Daylight Center would use This data center would trigger this piston and push the glass to blocking the view between the zombie and the villagers to give them a chance to rest at night, and then that will allow the system to reset. And then the pipes all connected in. They can see where they're going into the ground there. That's where they're going to the automatic item sorter. This over here is my pumpkin and melon farm. Not the most efficient of farms by any stretch of the imagination, but open, visible, and quite clear. I enjoy doing this. And that way I can always tile it up further if I wanted more materials, and there's some been going into it actually. And again, into the automatic system, dispensing back into the storage system. But yeah, fun little farm. And then you see this big pipe going over to there, and you will see in the distance, I'll come to the centre in a minute. This is my mob farm. Fairly standard design. It's switched off at the moment, but it would just flush the mobs off the platforms down below where I had the campfires. I've missed it altogether. I had the campfires down below there. They would land on these campfires and collect there. I turned it into a double chest just to give me more storage, because sometimes it backs up. But then the mob drops will get pushed into this pipe and fired all the way around. Because I never used to sleep at night when I was first playing 1.17, I used to get a lot of thunderstorms, which resulted in me getting skeleton horses, which I managed to kill off the skeleton riders, capture a few of these. So I've got a nice little stables built for them over here for them to spend their time here. And here I kept some of my mycelium and to breed up my mushroom cows. And basically it's been my main food source for the majority of the season. I would just come here and just breed these up, so I had a mass volume of them, and then reduce their numbers and get plenty of leather and steak. And that was my food source basically, but I did keep a little bit of the mushroom island here should I ever want to use it again in the future. And on top of this central island bit here, this modern build, my first ever modern build I will say, is, if I can get around to here, we can get inside and have a look. My village breeder. Now, right now it is switched off because I have blocked their access to seeing these beds, but if I flip that straight lever, they will then see the beds, and then as they breed, any babies they make will head over to the beds and then fall down this trapdoor here. There we go. Once it's been born over here, they will eventually see these beds, head over to here, fall down the trapdoor, and then be held in a waiting step portal for use at a later date. Hello sir, how are you? And there goes the baby. So what I'm going to do now, shut that back up again to stop the breeding and make sure my numbers are kept down. And then finally, as we see all the pipes coming down to here, these pipes will all lead, actually I'll come up here first, into here, and they'll come down there and they'll go swim around this channel here and get filtered into the items below, because they will then come underneath here into the storage system for the farms around the island. So we've got the different wools, sugarcane, iron, poppies, cactuses, pumpkin, melon. I've got extra slots for any future farms I was planning on building over here. And then over here, these are generally blocks you find from mining and the drops from the mob farm. And the villagers will eventually make their way over here, and at some point get put into a cubicle for villager trading. And I've got all the librarians, I've got cartographer, fletcher, leather worker, clerics, the whole lot. And the villagers will be kept back here, the few are left. That's why I switched it off. I got to put in my head, I had enough, and there's no point keeping them when we don't need them. But at a point 1.18 came along, I then trimmed chunks around the island. So when 1.18 came, I could regenerate fresh land, 1.18 caves and cliffs to go off and explore, and that's what we did. And that's where we started building next, to the south. But before we get there, I think we're going to do the nether. Don't mind walking, I can just fly over to here. And this takes us into our main Nether Hub, which is here. And this was basically opened all the way up, nice 4 main cardinal directions. We have our lowstone and our respawn anchor over here. So that is heads off to the south, and that's to our 2 building areas. Third, if you include the mangroves, what we did for the 1.19 stuff in the past. To the north, that leads to the ancient city, which we've just recently conquered. I'm not going to go back there today. That leads technically nowhere, but I think it does go past the bastion that we did defeat earlier in the season. And we've done nothing with the bastion ever since. And this leads to the end portal, but also along the way we pass through this basalt delta and a farm we have done recently. I think this actually was the last farm. We did this after we did the fog sanctuary, and this is our foglight farm. And the idea is we've got these platforms up above. I'll just pop into here. Up above we have these platforms where magma cubes will spawn, get attracted to the iron golems, fall down here. The snow, powder snow, would break them up into smaller ones where the fogs will then eat them. In fact, we'll just see some online action. So he'll jump up into the powder snow, like that one back there, and the fogs will eat them. There's a little one there, they get eaten, leave the fog lights, and they will get captured by the micro underneath. Down here, never got decorated this up, but we gather up our collection of the different fog lights. And it wasn't mega efficient, but it was efficient enough for my needs. Bear in mind, I'm just a single player, so I don't need to sort of provide for the entire server. But this pathway continues on down to the end. And whilst we have fought the dragon a couple of times, the only thing we really did in the end is the Anderman farm. So we'll have a quick look at that. And here we go, through the portal to the stronghold. And then straight through. It does have something right, straightforward. You could potentially look into the eyes of somebody not wanting to be looking at you. And then straight down there, and there is our Anderman farm. I have tried to decorate this up. Normally, just leave the stone tower and platform and nothing else. I did actually try and add a bit of decor to it this time. Oh, there's one floating up there. Well, basically, they will come and collapse into here, and then they're all one-hit kills. And then you just gather the XP and then the fills, which I don't particularly need on me at the moment. I've been enchanted to set up plenty of storage, and I've got plenty of end fills to last me a lifetime in here. But yeah, it's fairly straightforward, standard farm you get around here. And I say added like a pattern onto here and stuff like that. It's something I wouldn't normally do, but I thought I'd make a variation here. For some reason they're not going down. How are you not going down? Go on. There we go. It's just encouraging a little bit. But that is a good source for healing all my tools and the like going forward. I'll go back through the end. Ah, my bed has been broken. And this is actually spawn point. It wasn't this when I started the game. My spawn point was actually in the spruce forest. But, never mind. But I know where I'm going. I'll head back south. This is south, that's north. I want to go south. I'll head back to the island and then we'll continue the tour from there. And here we are back here in the Nether. We'll finish it off in here first. Which way do I want to be heading? This way. So again, a lot of these tunnels are connected with a lot of the builds we've got around the place here. That portal goes off to our main city. And then down here, this will eventually lead round to the fortress we found. And I actually did a couple of things in the, actually 3 things in the fortress, which is quite unusual. I don't normally do much in the Nether. I keep my sword on handy at all times. I'd say this will go now. Again, decorating parts of that as I keep running out of blocks and so forth. I've never really finished it off. But this leads into one of my first attempts at a wither skeleton farm. We gathered a load of wither roses by fighting the wither in a cave full of chickens. We did that about 3 times, I think, and that gave that. And we normally get wither skeletons spawning in here, and it reduces spawns of wither mobs. And I've been as I come through here, half slabbing a lot of this stuff around here, but obviously there's still a lot of netherrack. And I think there are better locations to create these farms. That's the first nether farm we built, and that is our blaze farm. And I sort of tied this into this corridor when I did the piglin bartering farm. You would just sit here and wait for the blazes to spawn. They had lava there, which would then funnel them down into this corridor here, drop into here. We can then fire that across there, which would start hurting them. At which point then you can come in, swing your sword, weaken them off, and get their drops and their XP. And then to this side here we have our piglin bartering farm. So we've got a load of piglins in place, all sat there waiting, and then you would run. Is there any gold left in there? There's a bit of gold left in here. That would run around, and that would start filling up the droppers up above with gold. Droppers or dispenser, can't remember which. And then I would trigger this one, and that would, after a short period of time, fire a piece of gold. There we go. They don't get the gold on each side. They would then drop the item into the hopper below, and a few seconds later another piece of gold will get dispensed. Just switch those two off, and then all the goods would then be collected down in these chests here. So as I say, they've got plenty of goods have come in. That's because they're solid blocks. There's nothing left in there. Oh, they're filtered through now anyway, so nothing in there anyway. But great place to get some resources from these chaps. And my plan was to then filter that underneath there to automatically sort it. Just never got around to doing that. But there were the farms we had in the nether. But as I, when 1.80 came along, I went out and explored the land, and I eventually settled again south of the starting island, White Forge Island, and we get in the middle of some forest land around some mountains. We settled and built our first little community. So what I'm going to do is fly over to that portal. Should be through here. And the idea of this was a little community out here in the mountains who were using the mountains to go mining for precious ores in the hills, in the mountains. So this was our little mining guild town, mining community. The 2 pickaxes. If I go over, you can get a better idea. These 2 pickaxes on the floor here, representing that. And this was sort of like my first break into 1.18, and I had plans to do more buildings around here. We added this glass floor for this ravine, what was going around the area here. Again, giving that representation of the mining in the area. I actually enjoyed it out here. I had a lot of the decor with the landscaping. But that was our starting build, our starting home here. A nice little tower to look out over the valley. In here, little kitchen area with our workbenches. One small little private lounge, and then a bit bigger one over here with an enchanting setup. And up here we had our bedroom area, and then in here the storage what we used for this area. But over the back there you can see a few houses. They're houses for some of the miners, and the plan was to put some more of those around the area just to sort of fill it out a little bit for some more miners. And then I did a path down this way, and because mining in here, there's an abundance of copper, so a lot of the builds have got copper on the roofs, and to help with the protection of the copper, we built this manual bee farm. You just come in, get your shears, and manually each year. There's 9 hives in here, and then you could just get the honey up there, and then add it on to any other copper you wanted to keep to be waxed. And then we added in this build. This is our toolsmiths. So you could come into here. This was his workshop, where he would do his work on the tools. And then over here, his little shop, and upstairs he's got his living accommodation. Down this side, because with the thin valley, wanted to add sort of a walkway down here. So I added in this pathway, went all the way down here. And that would be, there'll be a future mine out here. And I could always potentially take this all the way around. Because you've got this mountain here, and mountain in the background. There was actually a thin like valley all the way around this, which came out over there. There was plans at some point to potentially put a pathway all the way around there, and unfortunately never actually did it. Down here we added in stables, so that did basically, because there's a road that goes over to the city, we will put in have horses available so people could use them to ride back and forth. And finally, the last building here is this, the Miners Guild headquarters. So this is the office where you could sign in. We had here chests for the precious ores that I got found down there, with still plenty of diamond ore in there. Although I was never short of diamonds once you get going in the series. I think that's the same for most people. More of the more common ores where you mine up, and then a pathway on stairs which actually led down into the mines. I did actually put a pathway all the way down the mine. Get down here. And that goes all the way down to the bottom. We did find an abandoned mine shaft down there as well, but I never fully explored further down there. And with that, the end of the Miners Guild and the Miners location. We'll head down this pathway here. I'll fly part of it here, but I'd say I did this decor for these paths and stuff like that, and this pond area. Just give it a bit more detail, so it feel like you actually come into an area, so actually have some stuff done to it. But then we're now just into the roadway. You can fly and follow the road. And this road, we want to go this way, and this will lead us over to the city we're building at Broadhaven, over the little bridge over the little gorge. And this one I actually started doing for the past, what would have been the next episode, and that's adding this road, because this leads up to this tunnel. I only thought about actually digging out all this ground here, but I ended up keeping it and putting this tunnel going through in it. And actually doing so, I revealed this large dripstone cave we have underneath here. So we added in this bridge down through this cave. If I can just come and get down here. We had a lot of greenery underneath the bridge as well, just to sort of have it going from underneath the bridge, like the sunlight of the green stuff landed on top of the bridge and started growing up there. Get back out this way. And so I added this pathway in now through what would have been farmland to the city bridge and the towers, greeting the visitors to the city. And this is what's been the main focus of our building in this world. And this was something I was doing, I say, in the episode what never came out. This is a stables put in place here. I think there's my horse in there as well. But this video never came out. It's never fully been edited either, so it never will do. And here we have a large city, and this was a work in progress. And I think this is what caused me to lose a lot of motivation. I really felt myself getting stuck in it. Did I see a sheep fall down there? I did. But we had this large cathedral up here on here, and there's going to be a large building, a library over there. But you can see from here now we have like market stalls underneath there. There was going to be a crypt underneath here. There is no inside into the cathedral yet. But then coming down at this side here, you've got the main street going to the ocean, and then these are more shops and so forth. Over on this side here we have larger builds, larger homes. over here is the park, which I'd start working on again as well. And then over this side, we've got more small type housing and some more shops and so forth around this area as well. But we're going to have a look down here. We're going to start with the park. Again, this was something I was doing in the last episode with the stables, adding some detail and decor into the park. We'll make a start doing so. This will get replicated around the rest of the park. And say never got much further than this. And then over here, added in these buildings recently. These are some smaller homes, lowered in comparison to the heights of the buildings back as well, so they can see the park. And then we've got these little streets, which just need some details added into them. But this is the main high street of the city, going up to it. So here we have the tavern, and that was named the Kraken's Head. I actually add some decor inside here, some tables down below, and then you can go upstairs with some more seating areas up here as well. And they had this obviously a prime location here on the seafront, looking over the ocean. And this was another shop we did, a candle shop, and actually did a automated bee farm down here, which I think I've got too many bees in, but I don't want to go and just kill some bees. I don't know if it affects all of them, but these are obviously to churn out plenty of honey in here as well. I did have some bottles being made in it. I want to go up here. I did have some bottles of honey being done in there as well, but there's better ways of doing that as well, so I've stopped doing that now. And then again, these are all marked up to be shops. This one shop I did do a clothes shop, selling a range of I'll say fashion wear, for want of a better term. And then yeah, but they've all been decorated on the front now, and just need obviously further interiors doing. And then over this side, this was a little cafe we did. This was the first build actually over this side we did. And where's the entrance? Here it is. Little cafe shop, bakery. It's not really a bakery, it's a cafe. Doing cakes, pumpkin pies, sandwiches. And again, further seating upstairs as well. Again, I've made sure they have the big windows in here, so they make full use of this ocean view. And say a few more plots marked out for development. And that is going to be one further build over here, and then some private gardens for these houses. These are obviously larger houses for the more richer people of the city. Over that area, the plan was for that to be docks. So you can see I've marked out roughly the edge of trim, what the similar trim we've got around this city. And we're going to put some dock land over there. And then coming under here, you've got these first two sections here of our storage units and storage systems. And there's my dog. Again, more on this side, and there's plenty of storage for future materials were gathered. And then I added in a similar sort of palette around the edge here, and these were going to be for offices for the people running the city, for the city admin people. And then coming out here into a little area with a fountain. We'll add some further stuff around it for added digital decor. And finally, the market. Smaller traders selling their wares here. And then up above, we've got some of the more large stores, maybe more permanent based stores. And then you can come up here, again space for more buildings to come into place. And around the entire city, I had this promenade, this walkway. And it would go all around the city, because it was on like an island. So there was a river going all the way around it. So he was kind of isolated to that extent. And there'll be some more decoration down here, seats and lighting to do and what have you. But like I say, I just hit a point where I was finding it a struggle to actually come onto here and do stuff. I'm not wanting to do it, which is not really what I want to be doing. I want something I want to come and do. And I just think I just need to step back from this for a while and say I do want to complete this. I put a lot of work into it. I still think it's doable. I just need a big break from it, and I've not been giving myself that break. I've only had short periods, and I come back, do a couple of episodes, I'm okay, and then I'm back into that burnout again. So the plan is now I'm going to start a new Let's Play, something different to what this is, not building towns and cities, something different from that. And then I will leave this to one side and return at some point in the future, and I'll get this finished. More purely, if anything, just for my own sanity, for the work I put into it so far, is make sure I actually complete this project, because I really do want to finish it. I just need a break, that's all. But thank you very much everyone for the support they've given this series. I really do appreciate it. I hope you do join me on my next Let's Play, and hopefully we will return to this one day and we'll wrap this up. But guys, thank you very much for watching. Don't forget, like, subscribe, all that jazz. I'll see you all in the next series. Bye bye.